Growing up, you had sponsors. I think you've been with Quicksilver and Red Bull for quite a while now, and you have a number of really positive sponsors. Was there a moment for you where it felt like I'm really going to do this? Like, was there an event win or a photo trip or a contract where you're like, yeah, no, this is my path now?
Yeah, of course. I think everyone does. If they said that there wasn't a moment, they'd be lying. For me, I signed with Quicksilver when I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's a lot of different phases in my life. I remember one moment when I was around 9 years old, and I won like a little bit of money. I think it was like $200 for a surf contest for the first time in my life. And at the time, I really wanted this phone. And at the time it was called like the Google G1 Google phone or whatever. Oh, sorry. It actually was a BlackBerry. I really wanted a BlackBerry.
You're making me feel real old here, man. If that was the phone when you were 9.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, I was sick of having a flip phone, and all the businessmen had BlackBerries. Like, if you're older and if you're a CEO for a company, you had a BlackBerry. And so for me, I was like, I want to be that guy. I want to be mature. I'm sick of having this flip phone. Everyone has a flip phone in my class. And so
I'm sick of being pigeonholed as a 9-year-old. I want to be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, God, Jesus, that was ridiculous. But yeah, I won $200 in a contest, and I was like, Mom, I'm gonna buy a BlackBerry. And from that moment, I was like, wow, like surfing, this is like, I can buy things. This is cool. Like this, And then like the contracts came when I was 12. And all of a sudden I'm traveling the world. This is really fun. This is cool. But at the time I kind of took everything for granted. I was like, yeah, I went to India, I went to Australia, I went to France. Yeah, this is super cool, whatever. And then it was when, I started winning contests, and it was cool. When I was 14, when I was 13, I started doing Pro Juniors for the first time. And there was a contest that in Florida that I really wanted to go to. But it was more because I wanted to go to that contest because all my friends were going.
Right.
At the time, I'm not taking anything serious. I'm just surfing. And I asked my mom if I could go. My mom said no. It's going to Florida. You have to, get a flight. You have to get a hotel. And you're not going alone. You have to take me. So it's like all of a sudden it's a $3,000 trip. And my mom said, like, yeah, there's no way. You're 13 years old. And at the time, Pro Juniors were 21 and under. And I ended up stealing my mom's credit card to book everything and to go. I'm not trying to tell kids to do that. But at the time, like that's kind of how I felt. I really wanted to compete outside of California. Yeah, and I went there, and obviously the whole thing, my mom got really mad at me, freaked out.
Did you at least buy your mom a ticket with her credit card?
I did. No, I bought my mom a ticket. I bought myself a ticket. I got the hotel. I got the rental car. Like that's how far I got. I even went to taking my mom's driver's license to put in the driver's license information in the rental car.
So wait, did you go or did you get busted before?
No, well, obviously the moment it happened, I was like, okay, wow, that was $2,000 something. This is really, 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 really bad. But I was like, okay, but I need to go. Let me wait 24 hours for the 24-hour cancellation thing to go away, and then I'll tell my mom. So that's how far ahead I was thinking. Yeah, as soon as it went 24 hours, I told my mom. I said, hey, this is blah, blah, and obviously you don't even understand what. Just the anger that was on my mom's face. And I realized, like, wow, I kind of just did something really bad. And I went there. I mean, we went there, obviously, a lot of things happened in between then and there. I went there and I was freaking out. I was like, imagine if I came all the way here and lost first round. And I just kind of like went into this like crazy mode of like, I'm gonna win this thing. I ended up winning the contest. It was like my second Pro Junior I ever did. Yeah. I mean, I'm cutting this story really short, but there's a lot that went into it. But I ended up winning the contest and I won like $7,000. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I can pay you back, and I made an extra $4,000 on top of it. And that's kind of where it all started. I was like, wow, now I have $4,000 to kind of like go to the next event. And all of a sudden, US Open, I got a wild card and I got second. Toledo got third and Connor Coffin got first. And I think Kalohe got fourth. And all of a sudden I'm in this mix of like, okay, these are the best juniors in the world. And I'm like 13 years old and bang, I'm in the World Juniors. I'm in Karamas. I go to Karamas for World Juniors. And I got there and it was my first time surfing like reef breaks. And I was so scared of surfing Karamas. I remember the first time I surfed Karamas, I was like, there's no way I'm hitting that end section. I'm so scared. Like, this is like the shallowest reef break I've ever surfed. There's no way I'm going to surf this way. And I ended up losing first round, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That all happened. But I was like, you know what? This is cool. Like, you know, I think I can, this could be like a real thing, you know? At the time, I wasn't really watching CT events. You know, I never really started watching CT events until I was like, I think I started watching CT events the year before I qualified.
Really?
Which is, yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, really weird. Because, you know, I think I just never really took it that seriously. I was like competing. I was loving doing pro juniors. I was having a lot of fun. I had a lot of success. And then it was, I don't know. I don't really have a reason behind it. Like, and then all of a sudden I started doing QSs because all my friends were doing the QSs. And then next minute, like I'm in like this contention of qualifying, you know, and I was 17 at the time. I just started watching the CTs when I was 16, you know, and I was just kind of like, oh, cool, Mundaka's an event. Where's Mundaka? That's kind of where I was at. And then I qualified, and I'm like, whoa, where is Tavarua? Like, what's Tavarua? You know, like I was so like fresh to this surf world. You know, people, I think, get mistake like don't really realize that like we're not like robots being trained to be like these surf machines to like compete. You know, like everyone grows up in a different environment. And that was kind of my environment, and I just didn't really have that connection to like watching CT events and watching events, and then having that dream of qualifying. It was like, yeah, I want to be Kelly Slater. I want to be, you know, a multiple world champion. But for some reason, I just never watched events. It was just, I don't know. It was really weird. And all of a sudden, I'm on CT, and I'm in a jersey, and my first time competing in a CT event with Josh Kerr and Taj Burrow. You know, and that was my first ever heat at Snapper. So I don't know. Time flew from the time I was like 9, you know, competing in these little events to 17. I'm on tour.
Most 17 and 18-year-olds are like going off to college and being like, I can't find that building, and you know, it's like a brave new world, and it's actually just on a campus. And for you, you're like, man, I don't know where Fiji is, and I'm supposed to go compete there against my heroes in a couple months. So it's such a different experience for you.
Man, so weird. And obviously all my friends were like, oh my God, you're on tour. Like, that's so cool. But I was like, oh man, I'm on tour. Like, what do I do now? Like, how do I do this? And
you mentioned like how rapid the success was for you. And I had to double check your age a bunch of times because we know each other pretty well. And I'm like, 22 doesn't sound right. Google's wrong or something. You got to be like 28 or something for everything you've done. But there's the saying that, you know, the first one through the wall always gets bloody. And you've already achieved so much in your young career as a Japanese American. Have you ever encountered any racism as a professional surfer? And if so, how have you dealt with it?
Of course. You know, like I said before, everything I do, every little thing I do or we do, I feel like is being seen. It's out in the public. So, you know, having that moment of switching from having the American flag or representing the American flag to the Japanese flag, that was a huge moment. Like, you know, I still get people telling me that how wrong that was to this day. You know, it's already been like 3 years since I made that decision. And it's just one of those things where I feel like no one, for the rest of my career, they won't let go of it. And, you know, from every single
people from America giving you shit for this? Or like, where are these people coming from?
Yeah. I mean, no, not just America. I mean, I feel like it's less than America. It's from like other countries and other places that just like, that are telling me like, yeah, you're letting your country down. Like, how could you let your country down? They've done so much for you. And it's like, whoa, like, you know, I feel like, you know, the way people are like taking this, I felt like I went to war for a country and I was fighting that other country. And then during war, I like jumped over the line and I switched countries, you know, but it's like, man, at the end of the day, like, I feel like I still represent America. I still represent Huntington Beach on tour, you know? And it's like, I've always represented Japan, even when I was competing for America. And it wasn't just like, okay, yeah, I'm going to switch flags. Yeah, I'm just going to switch flags. I have so many more opportunities in Japan. It's like, that's the simple way of looking at it. But, it goes much, much, much beyond that, for me, it's like family first. I put my family before everything, before surfing, before myself. And that's kind of how I looked at it, and it was a family thing, and it felt like it was the right thing to do. And it was kind of a way to honor my parents. And I don't regret the decision one bit. Like, it was, I think it was one of the happiest moments of my parents' life when I won Karamas, and and there was a Japanese flag next to my name. And it was like, yeah, the first Japanese to win a CT event, and it's like, as for my parents, it was like to see that title, first Japanese to win a CT event. It was like, yeah, I think that was like, that hit them a lot harder than, people really realize. And for me too. But that was the moment that I wanted to give to my parents, and that feeling, and that feeling goes beyond words, seeing a flag being carried with my last name, Igarashi, the number 50 that I wear on my jersey is because of my last name. My last name means 50 storms. That's why I'm number 50. And little things like that to honor my parents, I'll take advantage and try and pick up. So yeah, as much as the hate I got, it was all worth it. It's all for my parents.
It's such a weird thing too, because I remember you and I were talking about it at the time, and we started thinking like, okay, how do we want to release this information? And I understand like sensitivities around like national pride in the Olympics, but with surfing, it's such like an identity-based exercise anyway. And when we were talking about it then, and even talking about it today, it's like, like Japan is a huge part of your identity and your family's identity, and it's not unprecedented. Like, people do this all the time. But there is something weird in surfing where I think for a lot of people, it's more than a sport and it's more than a lifestyle. It is like this identity thing. And when they see it being expressed, whether it's through competition or like the industry or the Olympics, and it doesn't gel with who they are as a person, they get so existentially offended, right? In a way that like other sport fans don't, because like, like even like you might be a football fan, but you're like, it's not my identity necessarily. But for surfers, it is like, that's my identity. That doesn't represent me. I'm going to get upset about it. It's like, hey, everyone should just kind of chill out on that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it all stems from that, it all stems from like having your home break and being a local at your home break. And it's kind of territorial, where other sports are not as territorial, or probably zero territorial. We have that thing of like, hey, locals only, and this is my spot. Oh yeah, he's a local here, which I think is great. That's what makes our sport so unique. Having passionate people that feel so connected to the sport, that's what makes us stand out from the other sports. And I think having that pride of territorial pride in surfing is a part of our culture. And I think we'll never get over it. But at the same time, I think it's a unique, positive thing. There's always going to be negatives and pros and cons of everything. And I think that's our little tick that makes us unique.
Do you like that? Well, if so, subscribe over there and then watch more videos over there. And then tell us your favorite videos down there. It's a 3-step process. Do them all now.